Okay, so we all know most traders ask the same question. What's the best prop firm? And the problem is most answers are usually biased, are sponsored, or have no actual data or any valuable information to actually help us choose what are the best prop firms. So instead of opinions today, I'm using real trader data and community votes to break down what are the best prop firms heading into 2026. So let's get started. And important to mention, to keep things simple and avoid overcomplicating things, I'll be filtering prop firms based on 5 categories that actually matters to long-term traders. So years of operation, that basically means how long the prop firm has been in the industry, how long they've been operating and paying out their customers. I don't think I need to explain a little too much about it because the name just explains it by its own. Then we have price, which I measure it based on ROI plus offers. So I'm going to explain that a little bit more. The way I measure things is if I'm going to buy a 100K account as an example, and the price is 650 USD, right? Hypothetically, and they don't offer any offers or they don't have any discounts or anything, well, in my opinion, the ROI is not that great compared to other challenges that, for example, maybe they're offering a 100K account at $350 plus a free account alongside your first payout. So the way I see things is, okay, if I'm actually spending $350 and they're offering me a free account alongside my first payout, well, the ROI overall at the end after getting funded and getting the first payout, it's going to be way better than the initial one, which is just $650 USD, and that's it. So this is really important to me. Then we have the Propfirm Match Awards. If you guys don't know what Propfirm Match is, it's a website and really interesting tool where you guys can compare the best prop firms in the industry. And every single year they do something that it's called the Propfirm Match Awards, where real traders, so verified traders, vote based on what they think are the best prop firms right now. So they just did the awards and we're going to evaluate which ones were at the top and which ones didn't perform that good. Then I'm going to measure things based on swing accounts or not. So as you guys know, and most of you guys, I think that if you guys follow me this journey, most likely you also swing trade. Well, I want to ensure that this prop firm challenges or prop firms offer what it's called a swing account. Basically means that you can hold the trades over the weekends. If they don't actually participate in this top or best firms, in my opinion. And then the last one, which is a discretional factor that I'm going to explain a little bit more about it later in this video, but in my opinion, it's one of the most important for sure. And also what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to evaluate each category and I'm going to choose between 2 to 3 prop firms. So I'm going to basically put them in here, and then we're going to filter out based on which ones were more repeated, and the idea is to at least combine the best 3 or the best 4, which by the way, it's my decision, it's my opinion. Each one, of course, and this is 100% discretional. I'm gonna try to do it the most mechanical and unbiased way possible, but of course, there is no actual way to just decide in a super strictly mechanical way, because of course all of these are discretional categories. So I'm going to try to do my best to be super mechanical and at the end try to achieve at least a top 3 or a top 4 of the most repeated winners in these areas. So let's get started. So let's start with years of operation. So immediately what I do is I open Propfirm Match. Literally in the homepage in the beginning, we can literally see years of operation in this area. So we want to ensure to select at least 2 or 3 that have been the longest in the industry. So we can immediately see this one, for example, the Fivers, that they have been years in operation of 9 years in total. Then, for example, we have Alpha Capital 4. Let's see, let's keep going. Can actually filter this based on years. So we can see here by filtering them. So we have Audacity Capital, 10 plus years. We have Darwin X. Well, Darwin X and Axie, for example, are more so like different than Propfirms, so I'm not going to include them in the video in here. So we have the Fivers 9, we have FTMO 10 plus, and we have Audacity Capital 10 plus. This ones, they only have 21 reviews, 3.4 stars. This one 4.8. So I'm going to choose the Fivers and FTMO as the first ones in this section. So we have our first 2 winners. So FTMO and the Fivers were the winners for the years of operation. So now let's jump into price. So ROI plus offers. So the way I'm going to see this is based on like entering this area where it says offers. We're going to click in there. The way I'm going to try to do this thing is I want to try to maximize the ROI opportunity by doing these 2 things. So choosing accounts that they are offering discounts, and on top of that, they're offering free accounts alongside their first payout, or offering a 50% account on the next account, or something that it's additional to just a single discount. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter this by extra account offers. So I click there and I'm going to, of course, evaluate this one. There's a bunch. So I'm going to evaluate which ones are the best. And that way we're going to choose, let's try to choose 3 to 4. Why? Because there is, of course, a lot of offers. So I'm going to try to choose at least 3 to 4 winners in this category. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to browse them and see which ones I choose. Okay, so after evaluating for a while, I made my decision. So I was interested initially in this one, right? Because it looks like a really good ROI, so 70% off plus free account. But the thing is, I actually read that it looks like it's only for a 5K challenge. In my opinion, a 5K challenge is not that much. So I'm not gonna actually add this one into the list. So I'm gonna stick to initially Q2 funded. We have a 50% off plus a free account. So we have 50% off plus free account of the same size after purchase. So they immediately give you a free account after you purchase, and you on top of that get a 50% off on the initial account. So in my opinion, it's a crazy deal. So I'm going to choose that one first. Then I'm going to choose Blueberry Funded. They basically are offering a 30% off plus a free account alongside their first payout. So basically a same size account. So you buy a challenge, and after you get funded and you get your first payout, you get a free account of the same size with that payout. So honestly, a really good deal. And finally, I'm gonna basically choose Alpha Capital. They're doing a 15% off plus a free account. So it's not a bad offer. It's not a bad option. So I'm gonna choose this one as well. And actually, I'm also gonna use this one. So like this one, it looks interesting. It's also OANDA, so it's a broker-backed firm, which is as well interesting. And they're doing something similar to Blueberry Funded, 30% off plus free account of the same size if reaching payout on all challenges, first time users only. This is something that I really don't like. I don't think you can maximize the ROI in that term, but it is what it is. I'm going to choose that one. So let's actually add them real quick into the list. So we have years of operation, FTMO defivers, and price ROI plus offers, Q2 funded, Blueberry funded, Alpha Capital, and OANDA. Let me actually separate this right here. There you go. Now, let's focus on Profit Match awards. So, same thing. So we go into Profit Match, and in this section, we're going to basically select, actually my camera, it's not letting me show you guys. So we're going to click on awards in here. And then, let me accommodate my camera again real quick. So we're gonna basically click on Traders' Choice Awards. I'm more focused on seeing what traders, verified traders that actually voted, think and their decisions based on each prop firm. So we're gonna go in here, and in here we can see that voting has ended, and there were 36,497 verified votes, which is a huge sample size, and that makes me, of course, a little bit more interesting and confident into choosing the right ones real quick. So in here, I'm going to quickly choose the best ones. I'm not going to overcomplicate things. I'm going to choose the top 3. So I'm going to choose the best Forex prop firms of 2025. I'm going to choose the funding pips, Q2 funded, and Blueberry funded. That's it. I don't want to overcomplicate things. In the best broker-backed prop firms, we can also see Blueberry, Think Capital, and Hadtech Trader. So maybe what we can do is choose one of this ones, so Think Capital, and let's choose this 3. That way we can be a little bit more open and give other prop firms the opportunity. Think Capital, which by the way, I don't know too much about Think Capital, so I just want to ensure that Think Capital it's for CFDs and not maybe for futures or anything. So the way we can see it is super simple. So we just click in here, we look for Think Capital, and we can review the information. And as we can see, CFD instruments, so CFD. So Forex, metals, indices, crypto, etc. So this one applies for our list, so it's all good. And they're actually offering an interesting promotion in there, so it's not bad at all. So it's a good decision, at least in my opinion. Okay, so we have a new list, the winners for the Profit Match Awards in there. So now let's move on with swing accounts or not. So the way I'm going to do it is, again, open the awards, but in this case specifically, instead of going into the Traders' Choice Awards, I'm going to actually go into the Profit Match Awards, right? So when I click there, I'm going to select the Forex specific industry, and I'm going to actually evaluate this ones based on the factors they're putting in here. So for example, the Fivers won the best trading conditions, or for example, best payout process, E8 markets won. Or we have funded next, for example, highest verified payout amount in the Forex industry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the ones in the Forex market. I'm going to see if they actually offer swing accounts. And if they do, I'm going to put between 4 to 5 prop firms in that category. And that way we're going to add those winners and continue, of course, with the next category, which will be the discretional factor, which is one of the most important ones for sure. Okay, so I review some of these prop firms and I actually realized that the best way is going to be this way. So I'm going to click in prop firm match awards in Forex, and I'm actually going to select this one's right there. So for example, this one is more focused on crypto, so I'm going to choose the Fivers, E8 markets, bright funded, funded next, funded peeps, the Fivers, it's repeated again, so that one I'm not going to include it, Think Capital and Alpha Capital. And actually, this one's as well. Yeah, let's give them a try. So Maven, Q2 funded, the Fivers are repeated. So I'm going to select all of these ones, and I'm going to actually individually check on each prop firm website to see if they allow swing trading or not. If they do, they're going to immediately go into this area. This is going to be the area with more prop firms because, like I said, it's really difficult for us to actually measure if this one is a winner or not. So what I'm going to do is just put a bunch in here, and then it's easier for us to filter them out. So let's get started. I'm actually going to open each one on their website, go into the frequent asked questions, and see if they allow swing trading or not. Okay, so it took me a while. It was actually, I went into every single prop firm. I actually added some that were in the list, right? And of course, there were a lot that were repeated. So these were kind of like the ones I looked. And actually, something interesting, all of these ones in this list that I kind of like selected to do some research, they all accept holding over the weekend. So they basically accept a swing trading approach. So the Fivers, they accept a swing trading approach. E8 accept a swing trading approach. We can see it literally in there. Bright funded, yes, a bright funded will allow traders to hold positions over the weekend. So amazing. Then on funded next, they also accept swing traders in here. So in funding peeps, they accept swing traders as well. Then in Q2 funded, they do as well. And finally, Blueberry funded, they also accept swing trading, so holding trades over the weekend. So yes, weekend holding is permitted at Blueberry funded. So they are actually really good options of this one. So I'm gonna place each of these prop firms in this category real quick. So in the swing accounts or not, I'm gonna place them in this category right now. Okay, so here's the updated list. So the winners for this one, which by the way, I was actually thinking, and this is the category that I'm going to put less weight of these 5 categories. Why? Because swing accounts at the end, most of them accept swing trading or holding trades over the weekend. So I don't think this should be actually something that should affect directly the overall top winners or the overall ranking. So I'm going to actually include this as something important, something interesting, and of course it's going to have some weight, but not the same exact weight as, for example, this other 3, as well as the discretional factor that now I'm going to explain real quick. Okay, so now to explain the discretional factor, I think you guys are going to agree with me a lot, and this is actually one of the most important categories of this list, which is basically the popularity of each prop firm. Why, in my opinion, is discretional? It's because, of course, it really depends on each person. For example, I could have my top 4 or 5 favorite prop firms. Maybe another person that also trades Forex will have a different top 4, right? So that's why it's so important for us to consider this discretional factor. But Prop Firm Match has a tool in a section where you guys can actually measure how popular a prop firm is, not only based on what people think, but also based on which one sells the most. So basically what prop firms have the most sales. Why, in my opinion, this is so important? It's because at the end, we need to understand how prop firms work, and prop firms work based on liquidity. The more liquid they are, the more money they have, so the more they're going to pay out their customers in general scenarios. When a prop firm usually has low liquidity, that basically means they have less money. So if you guys request a big payout, most likely they're going to deny your payouts. So that's something we really need to understand. The more liquid a prop firm is, the more money they have to pay you guys out. So we really need to go with prop firms that are being trending, that are trending at the moment, that are popular, and people are actually buying the most. So if we open Profirm Match again, we can literally see in this section that it's called best sellers. So in this case specifically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the top 4 in this section, and I'm going to also choose in another way that I'm going to explain it in a second. So I'm going to choose Funding Pips, E8 Markets, Blueberry Funded, and Alpha Capital. So let's write those down. This basically means that this, based on Profirm Match, which is of course based on the data and not actually in a monthly basis or in the last 6 months, this is actually based on the last week. So it's week by week basis. So it's the most recent data. These are the top 4 Profirms right now that people are actually getting. So Funding Pips, E8 Markets, Blueberry Funded, and Alpha Capital. So I'm going to select this 4 real quick and I'm going to put them in the list. So this is how the list looks right now. And I'm also going to use this tool that it's, in my opinion, really interesting. So you go to the home section and you basically put in this area popular Profirms. So Profirm Match is going to filter out based on how popular they are. And as you guys can see, this is basically the list right there. So we can see that of the list we had before, we have 2 new popular Profirms, which are, in this case, the Fivers and Funded Next. So let me actually add them as well into the list. And that's basically how we finish the categories and the overall ranking. So now this is the part where we're gonna basically choose the ones that are being repeated the most. And in terms of that, we're gonna actually select our top 4 winners. But before we move on to actually selecting the top 4 winners, I'm gonna actually say, based on my opinion, like I said, this is based on my opinion, which of these categories are more important and how it's gonna help me, of course, decide which ones are the best or which ones are not that good. So years of operation, in my opinion, it's definitely the most important category. Why? Because this means that a firm has been able to last the longest. That basically means that if, for example, FTMO, that we already know, that have been 10 years in operation, so they have been operating for more than 10 years, this means that this actual company, it's real and trustworthy. It's not a new Profirm that just recently launched a couple of weeks ago and they maybe want to scam people. They are actually legit, and more knowing, if you guys don't know this, that they actually acquired or and that recently, so that makes them even more reliable. So this is one of the most important categories in my opinion. Then we have price, ROI plus offers. This might be interesting or important for you or not, at least for me, someone that is not rich and actually wants to use his money in the most wise way so that I can actually have the biggest ROI. This category is really important to me. So for example, I definitely prefer to buy these Profirms that are offering some good offers with a very good ROI instead of, for example, getting FTMO or the Fivers that usually don't offer those great discounts or those great ROI offers. So this is really important to me as well. Definitely years of operation. It's much better if you guys want to ensure you're getting something that you're going to be paid out and you're actually working with a really big company. And this one, of course, it's mostly focused on maximizing your ROI or maximizing your profits. Then Profirm Match Awards. This one, it's 100% important. In my opinion, these 2 are the most important ones. So years of operation and Profirm Match Awards. Why? Because this one is based on data, based on big sample sizes, as you were able to see, 36,000 votes, more than 36K. And these are just basically focused on people voting into which are the best Profirms in their opinion. So I'm going to put the most weight on this 2. This one, I'm not going to actually choose this one as a mandatory one for me to choose this ones, because the good thing about it is that all of the Profirms that are in these categories have also swing accounts, or at least they allow you to hold trades over the weekend. So this basically is a check for me. So they all appear, which means that in this case specifically, they all have the opportunity to participate. So now let's ignore the swing accounts and now let's just focus on this 3 and the last one, which is the discretional factor that I explained already. So years of operation, these are the most important ones. So definitely 100%, these 2 are gonna go into this area for sure. So FTMO and the Fivers immediately go into this section, right? As actually one of the favorite ones, which I believe are 100% trustworthy. Then we have price ROI plus offers. We have Q2 funded, Blueberry funded, Alpha Capital, and Oanda. We can see immediately that Oanda is not repeated in any other sections there. So Oanda, I move Oanda to this area. So Oanda passes to here. So it's not actually selected. So I'm going to leave it in this area. So I'm going to immediately delete Oanda from this section. So we have Q2 funded, Blueberry funded, and Alpha Capital. Then we can see that Blueberry funded is repeated here. Alpha Capital is repeated here, as well as here. Blueberry funded is also repeated here. Q2 funded is repeated. Let me see. It's not repeated in here. It's repeated in here. So we're going to move Q2 funded to this area as a possible winner. And definitely Alpha Capital and Blueberry funded in here. So let's pass them in here. Like I said, it's going to be actually simple because they're most of them repeated. In this one, we have E8 markets. But like I said, this one, we kind of like ignore it. So it's been repeated in this area one time. And it's not repeated in any other areas here. So despite, of course, being a very good prop firm, I'm going to take this one out. E8 markets in here. And then we have the fibers that it's been repeated, but it's already in here. So basically, we're working with the following. So Alpha Capital, Blueberry funded, Q2 funded, and then another one, for example, Bright funded. It's repeated in here, like it's mentioned here, but it doesn't appear in any other categories. I'm going to actually put Bright funded in this area. So instead of being, and it looks like a very interesting prop firm, it doesn't actually apply or qualify for my final top category. And now we're basically remaining with this ones and actually also funding pips because it appears not only in this area, but it also appears in this area right here in the discretional factor, and it appears in the prop firm match awards. So this one must be 100% in this location. So let's add it in this case. And we have in this area prop firm match awards, we have Think Capital. It's one that it looks good. This one was actually in the top 2, if I'm not wrong, of the broker backed firms, if I'm not mistaken, maybe. But anyways, it doesn't appear in any other ranking. So I'm going to actually also take Think Capital and put it in this category right there. By the way, these are the prop firms that, despite of course being good, are not the best, at least based on my ranking. And now we basically end up with this category. So FTMO, the fibers, Alpha Capital, Blueberry funded, Q2 funded, and funding peeps. In total, those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need 4 winners. So here's specifically where it's gonna go my actual decision. Like I said, it's a decision based on me, based on myself. And this is actually important because you guys consistently ask me, like in my DMs on Instagram specifically, like, yo, what's your favorite prop firm or what's the best prop firm for me to buy right now with this challenge discount or anything? Well, this is going to be my top 4 winners. And I'm going to basically decide based on one category that in my opinion is the most important one, which is the ROI plus offers, which is how good my ROI is going to be based on the discounts and based on the offers each prop firm is offering. So immediately, despite FTMO being one of the most secure prop firms, which by the way, I openly said it and you guys can literally trust me, put my name on the table, FTMO, it's 100% reliable. And if you guys want to get a prop firm challenge with a prop firm that you guys are literally guaranteeing that you're going to be paid out after you get funded, go with FTMO. That's for sure. Same thing with the fibers. But if you guys want to maximize the opportunity to actually make a good amount of money and also have a nice and interesting ROI, then you guys can be a little bit more aggressive like me, which is someone that I want and like to actually diversify into different prop firms. I don't put on the eggs in the same basket and just get everything with FTMO or the fibers. I like to get a couple of challenges with X prop firm, a couple of challenges with X prop firm, and a couple of challenges with X or Y prop firm. So what I'm going to do is, in this case specifically, because the price ROI offers Q2 funded and Blueberry funded win, this makes them immediately go into the top 1 and 2. So we have this one and this one. This one's all immediately qualify for the ranking. This is not in order, this is just in this order. These are my top 4 favorites, which I'm gonna start buying starting in 2026 to start scaling, of course, and hopefully reaching my 1 million funded goal. One, by the way, I forgot actually to put and move funded next into this area. So funded next is gonna actually be in this location right here, because it only appeared in the discretional factor. It didn't appear in other categories, of course, aside from the swings account that I'm not considering valid right now. So now, considering that Alpha Capital also appeared in here and also appeared in this area, which is the discretional factor, this one also qualifies immediately. So now I just need one more, which the winner is going to be immediately Funding Pips. Why? Because Funding Pips, it appears in the Prop Firm Match Awards. It won top 1 in the most favorite prop firm for Forex traders out there. So it was the most voted one. So that is really important to me. And also it appears in the discretional factor, which basically means that it's the most popular prop firm at the moment. So I take this ones, and what I'm going to do is actually, these are my top 4 winners, right? And I'm going to actually do another category. Okay, so here is it. I basically updated the titles and I actually added a new one because I know you guys most likely are gonna say in the comments like, yo, how you don't put FTMO in the ranking and the fivers, you're crazy and whatever. I understand. So I actually decided to do top 2 rankings. So the 2 most reliable prop firms in my opinion, definitely FTMO and the fivers. Why? Mostly because of this thing, the years of operation. They're 100% the top winners. So I'm gonna go with this ones. And the top 4 best prop firms, at least in my opinion, it's Rosal Trading's decision, Esteban Rosal's trading decision. These are my top 4 favorite prop firms, which I'm gonna 100% start scaling with them, and are the prop firms that I'm gonna start using starting in 2026 the most. I already use Blueberry Funded, but I'm gonna start getting some challenges with these ones, and hopefully start scaling aggressively with this. Why? Mainly because they have the best ROI offers or the best ROI opportunity right now in the markets, in my opinion, and also they're trending. So the discretional factor is check, and they're really popular at the moment, which makes, in my opinion, some prop firms that are highly liquid, which is, of course, like I explained before, a very good factor to determine. So yes, guys, that was all for this video. A very interesting and different video that I usually post in here, but it was honestly fun and entertaining to do my own research together. This is literally the way I usually approach this process. If I want to actually get a new challenge, this is the way I do it. Just I go into Prop Firm Match, I browse every section, and I make my own decisions by doing pros and cons. And by the way, each prop firm I mentioned in this video, it's good, it's reliable, especially if they won any single one of these categories. For example, if they won the price ROI categories and they appeared in there, or if they appeared in the discretional factor category, that makes them a very good and trustworthy firm, and I definitely trust them, and I would go with that if you guys want to. I just, of course, had to choose my top 4 favorite prop firms just because it was kind of like the main idea of the video. But just to make sure and just to keep it super simple and transparent, all of those ones are really, really promising and trustworthy. So if you guys want to go with any of those and are not in my top 4, you guys are good with that as well. Just wanted to clarify that specifically. And yes, guys, let me know if you agree with my top 4 best prop firms. Let me know if you agree with my ranking. Let me know if you agree with my top 2 most reliable prop firms ranking as well. And if not, let me know which ones maybe should be in the ranking, which ones are good, which ones aren't that good. And just be transparent in the comments. I want to read you, and that way you can also help any other trader out there in case they're looking for some prop firm challenges. And without further ado, let me know if you guys want me to post more content like this. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, make sure to do so. The link's in the description down below. And if you guys really want to level up your prop firm research and actually know which prop firms to get in the future, make sure to check out Prop Firm Match. Do the same thing I did today. Do your own research and use this platform and this tool so you guys can make the most informed and proper decisions out there. So without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, happy holidays, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.